To have a mission is to have a unifying focus for your career. It's more general than a specific job and can span multiple positions. It provides an answer to the question, what should I do with my life?
Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
Hi, and welcome to Philosopher Insights. My name is Herb Lamba. Today, we're taking a look at So Good They Can't Ignore You, Why Skills Trump Passion in the Quest for the Work You Love. The author of this book is Cal Newport. The book is published in 2012. I wanted to share a number of my favorite insights, starting with Passion Hypothesis Debunked, Craftsman versus Passion Mindset, Deliberate Practice, A Mission plus Little Bets, and then finish it off with a closing thought. So let's get started with the introduction. Quote, "The narratives in this book are bound by a common thread, the importance of ability. The things that make a great job great, I have discovered, are rare and valuable. If you want them in your working life, you need something rare and valuable to offer in return. In other words, you need to be good at something before you can expect a good job. Of course, mastery by itself is not enough to guarantee happiness. The many examples of well-respected but miserable workaholics support this claim. Accordingly, this main thread of my argument moves beyond the mere acquisition of useful skills and into the subtle art of investing the career capital this generates into the right types of traits in your working life. This argument flips conventional wisdom. It relegates passion to the sidelines, claiming that this feeling is an epiphenomena of a working life well lived. Don't follow your passion. Rather, let it follow you in your quest to become, in the words of my favorite Steve Martin quote, so good they can't ignore you, end quote. Become so good they can't ignore you. Now that sounds like an approach worth learning more about, and that is exactly what this incredible book by author Cal Newport delivers. Newport's main goal in writing this book is to help you realize that common career advice like follow your passion can actually be pretty misleading. He's found that simply telling people to just pursue their passions isn't always the best advice. Instead, the author takes you on a journey to help you find more meaningful, fulfilling work in your life. And he made a really fascinating discovery in his research. The best way to create the kind of work you love is to become highly skilled at something. In other words, the key is to become so darn good at what you do that people can't help but take notice. Once you've built up that valuable career capital, you can then use it to negotiate for work that allows you to make a real impact and change the world around you. Now, this book is broken into the 4 rules for loving the work you do. Rule number 1, don't follow your passion. Rule number 2, be so good they can't ignore you, or the importance of skill. Rule number 3, turn down a promotion, or the importance of control. And rule number 4, think small, act big, or the importance of mission. This book is packed with eye-opening wisdom, so let's begin with the first insight. Insight number 1, Passion Hypothesis Debunked. Quote, there are many common complex reasons for workplace satisfaction, but the reductive notion of matching your job to a pre-existing passion is not among them, end quote. Now, Newport believes that the passion hypothesis is flawed, that there is no guarantee you will be happy just because you find a job that allows you to exercise a pre-existing passion. Newport shares 3 conclusions from social science research that highlights, number 1, career passions are rare. So get this, a psychologist named Robert J. Vallerland did a survey of Canadian university students, and he found that a whopping 84% of them said that they had a real passion in life. But here's something surprising. Less than 4% of those passions were actually related to the kind of work they wanted to do for a living. Now that is wild. If only 4% of people's deepest passions are tied to their careers, how can we really rely on that idea of following your passion when it comes to making important decisions about our work lives? It just doesn't seem to line up with the reality that most of us face. Number 2, passion takes time. According to research by Amy Wisniewski, organizational behavior professor at Yale University, the determining factor for employees who saw their job as a calling and not simply a way to make money was the number of years they had been in that role. Quote, The happiest, most passionate employees are not those who followed their passion into a position, but instead those who have been around long enough to become good at what they do." End quote. Number 3, passion is a side effect of mastery. The self-determination theory tells us that motivation requires the fulfillment of 3 psychological needs. 1, autonomy, having control over your work responsibilities. 2 is competence, you feel that you're good at what you do. And the third one is relatedness, liking and connecting to your coworkers. Quote, "Competence and autonomy, for example, are achievable by most people in a wide variety of jobs, assuming they're willing to put in the hard work required for mastery. This message is not as inspiring as follow your passion and you'll immediately be happy, but it certainly has a ring of truth. In other words, working right trumps finding the right work." End quote. Insight number 2, craftsman versus passion mindset. Quote, "To summarize, I've presented 2 different ways people think about their working life. The first is the craftsman mindset, which focuses on what you can offer the world. The second is the passion mindset, which instead focuses on what the world can offer you. The craftsman mindset offers clarity, while the passion mindset offers a swamp of ambiguous and unanswerable questions." End quote. So here's the gist of Newport's recommendation. He says we should worry a lot less about whether our job is directly connected to our passion. Instead, the key is to focus on becoming so insanely good at what you do that people can't help but take notice. It's all about adopting what Newport calls the craftsman mindset. Now this reminds me of The Passion Paradox, where authors Brad Stulberg and Steve Magnus shared parallel wisdom. Quote, "Individuals who adopt a fit mindset of passion tend to overemphasize their initial feelings. They are more likely to choose pursuits, and especially professions, based on preliminary assessments, not potential for growth. Individuals who are on a path to mastery not only accomplish great things, but do so in a healthy and sustainable manner. They exude a Zen-like aura, are resistant to burnout, and produce work that is a special kind of quality, a quality that is born of love." End quote. So if you focus primarily on what is in it for me, then you are operating in the passion or fit mindset. But if you have transitioned to the craftsman or mastery mindset, the focus is more about how you can impact the lives of others. Quick reminder from George Leonard in his great book, Mastery. He says, quote, "To learn anything significant, to make any lasting change in yourself, you must be willing to spend most of your time on the plateau." End quote. Insight number 3, deliberate practice. Quote, "The idea that excellence at performing a complex task requires a critical minimum level of practice surfaces again and again in studies of expertise. In fact, researchers have settled on what they believe is the magic number for true expertise, 10,000 hours." End quote. In his work, Newport references a 2005 study led by psychologist Neil Charnes that surveyed hundreds of chess players worldwide. The researchers went beyond just looking at practice hours and discovered another crucial factor in achieving mastery: the type of deliberate practice players engaged in. This concept of targeted, focused skill development, which Anders Ericsson later termed deliberate practice, is a high, central tenet of Newport's advice. He argues that becoming indispensable in your career is less about following your passion, and it's much more about systematically honing in-demand skills through the kind of dedicated, purposeful practice. In Flourish, Martin Seligman says this about Ericsson and deliberate practice. Quote, "Ericsson has argued that the cornerstone of all high expertise is not God-given genius, but deliberate practice. Mozart was Mozart not primarily because he had a unique gift for music, but because from toddlerhood he spent all his time using his gift." End quote. As we've talked about before, many authors repeatedly emphasize the importance of deliberate skill development to become indispensable. There is a significant difference between practice and deliberate practice. General practice might include mindless repetitions, whereas deliberate practice requires focused attention with the intent of improving performance. Now, when it comes to improving at golf, the pros don't just hit endless balls at the range. They engage in deliberate, targeted practice to systematically develop their skills, unlike most casual players. Do you have a deliberate practice built around what matters to you? Insight number 4, a mission plus little bets. Quote, "To have a mission is to have a unifying focus for your career. It's more general than a specific job and can span multiple positions. It provides an answer to the question, what should I do with my life? Missions are powerful because they focus your energy towards a useful goal, and this in turn maximizes your impact on your world, a crucial factor in loving what you do." End quote. To turn your mission into reality, Newport advises first building up career capital, developing rare, valuable skills through deliberate practice, then leveraging that expertise to create meaningful, impactful work. Quote, "A good career mission is similar to a scientific breakthrough. It's an innovation waiting to be discovered in the adjacent possible of your field. If you want to identify a mission for your working life, you must first get to the cutting edge, the only place where these missions become visible." End quote. Now the key is that a truly life-changing mission requires more than just optimism. First, you must invest in building deep expertise through deliberate practice. Only then will you be able to see the adjacent possible, like he says, the opportunities at the cutting edge of your field. And once you can see them, you must pursue them with relentless action to turn your mission into a reality. One of the strategies shared by Newport to chase down your mission is to leverage what author Peter Sims wrote about in his great book, Little Bets. Quote, "Little Bets is based on the proposition that we can use a lot of little bets and certain creative methods to identify possibilities and build up to great outcomes. When we can't know what's going to happen, little bets help us learn about the factors that can't be understood beforehand." End quote. Now, I was really drawn to the idea of making little bets to explore your mission, purpose, or new habits. These small experimental actions help you discover, test, and refine ideas, informing your next steps. It's a smart, iterative approach to making progress, rather than trying to plan everything out perfectly up front. The permanent beta mode concept from Maximize Your Potential comes to mind. The idea of viewing your life like a software product in beta. Just as companies release unfinished software with the expectation of future improvements, we should recognize that we're all works in progress. By making these little bets and experiments, we can test ideas and iterate, accepting that failures and bugs are part of the process. It's about putting on our lab coats, making small moves, and embracing the fact that we have more self-discovery and development ahead of us. This iterative, experimental mindset can help us make meaningful progress on our missions and goals. Insight number 5, closing thought. Quote, "Don't obsess over discovering your true calling. Instead, master rare and valuable skills. Once you build up the career capital that these skills generate, invest it wisely. Use it to acquire control over what you do and how you do it, and to identify and act on a life-changing mission." End quote. I really found this book to provide a refreshing new outlook that really resonated with me. After years of frustration about not pursuing my calling, I now understand the importance of patiently investing in career capital, developing valuable skills, connections, and expertise. Rather than rushing into a mission, the key is making small, experimental little bets to gradually uncover your path. This more methodical approach has given me a much clearer perspective. I appreciate how Newport challenges the conventional wisdom and encourages a thoughtful, strategic mindset around building a meaningful career. I hope you enjoyed my favorite insights from So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport, and I hope you can apply one or more of these insights into your life. If you enjoyed these insights, please be sure to circle back to episode 43 and check out another of Cal Newport's great books, Deep Work. Thanks for stopping by today, and remember to stay curious and keep embracing the wonders of knowledge. Talk to you soon. You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Lambert. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.